Media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, Malnadu TV, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation, and Gyan. Our endeavor is to educate, enlighten all of you about the impacts of COVID-19. And we have bought many sectors uh, in last almost 4.5 months. And today, our topic is impact, COVID-19 impact on married life. A successful married life requires falling in love many times, but always with the same person. The union of a man and a woman recognized by authority or ceremony is as old as civilization itself, and marriage of some kind is found in virtually every society. But throughout the centuries, marriage has taken many different forms. Marriage, also called matrimony or wedlock, is a culturally recognized union between people called spouses that establishes rights and obligations between them, as well as between them and their children and between them and their in-laws. The definition of marriage varies around the world, not only between cultures and between religions, but also throughout the history of any given culture and religion. Over time, it has expanded and also constricted in terms of who and what is encompassed. Typically, it is an institution in which interpersonal relationships are acknowledged or sanctioned. When, definite, when defined broadly, marriage is considered a cultural universal. A marriage ceremony is called a wedding. Marriage comes from Middle English, which was first seen in 1250 to 1300 CE. However, the ancient institutions like predates this date. The main goal of marriage earlier on was to act as an alliance between families. Throughout history and even today, families arranged marriages for couples. The people involved did not have much to say about the decision then and often don't today even either. The first recorded evidence of marriage ceremonies uniting one woman and one man dates from about 2350 BC in Mesopotamia. Over the next several hundred years, marriage evolved into a widespread institution embraced by the ancient Hebrews, Greeks, and Romans. While love may be the biggest reason people marry, it is not the only one. In general, people make the commitment to spend their lives together for more than a single reason. Every couple chooses to commit to marriage because it serves their needs and supports their values and dreams. The COVID-19 pandemic has reshaped our personal relationships in unprecedented ways, forcing to live closer together with some people and further apart from others. Life in lockdown has necessitated close, constant contact with the families and partners, but social distancing measures have isolated from friends and wider communities. In China, which was the first country in the world to go into full lockdown when the virus emerged there, the virus has been brought under control and life has returned to some semblance of normality, but the pandemic has left some cracks in married life. Most notable, the high pressure environment of confinement combined with the financial stress brought about by a COVID-19 burdened economy has led to a rise in marital conflict. This is most evident in a spike in divorce rates in the city of Xi'an in northwest China's Shanxi province. Marriage registration office saw an unprecedented number of divorce requests when they reopened. In India, statistics shows that only 1 out of 100 Indian marriages end up to a divorce, which is quite low in comparison to America's 50% of marriages turning into breakups pre-COVID era. But now, in the midst of the pandemic, there has also been a surge in the number of cases related to divorce and child custody. In Mumbai only, the increase is threefold. And to discuss this important aspect, the COVID-19 impact on married life, we are having a very elite panel, the experts who are giving their counseling, or they are experts, or the doctors, the psychiatrists or psychologists, which will be giving their opinion today about the COVID-19 impact on married life. I would like to introduce my first guest. He is Professor Dr. P.K. Dalal. Dr. Dalal is the president of Indian Psychiatry Society. He is the professor and head of the Department Psychiatry of King George Medical University, Lucknow. He is in charge of de-addiction psychiatry at KGMU. He has completed 27 projects. He published 125 plus in national and international journals and book chapters. He has been awarded Dr. B.B. Sethi Oration Award, Tara Naidu Award of IPS Central Zone, Professor A.D. Engineering Award, KGMU Award of Excellence, Mangrappa Poster Award of IPS, Honorary Fellow, World Association of Social Psychiatry. He was the former president, IPS Central Zone 2004-5, and former editor, IPS Central Zone 1997-2003. Welcome, Professor Dalal, to our show. Please unmute yourself. Dr. Dalal, please unmute. Dr. Dalal, as per the report which I just read, the number of cases during the COVID about the divorce and the child custody has increased threefold in a city like Mumbai. The data are premature because we could not collect the data from all the cities, but the trend is there that everywhere it is increasing. Now, we would like to know from you the COVID-19 impact on married life. Professor Dr. P.K. Dalal, please.
Thank you, Mr. Lal, and the other esteemed panelists and the viewers. It's a very important topic, and Mr. Lal has already summarized what is happening in COVID and what was there pre-COVID. And what I would like to say is that there are two aspects of it. Some is positive and some is negative. And then, as we call, every problem have its own biopsychosocial model, which psychiatry sees about it regarding all the, I would say, disorders as far as all the problems also. So it depends upon what is the biological or the genetic or the genes which you are carrying from your parents, and what is the psychological makeup, your personality profile, and what is the social situation is prevailing nowadays. So social situation is probably similar for all of us as far as this COVID pandemic is concerned. And we all know that we are going through somewhat initially a full lockdown, then partial lockdown, then weekend lockdowns, which we are going through, as well as economic problems, hardships. And with that, people are more and more in stress nowadays. And they are actually, they are spending, say couples, they are spending more and more time together nowadays. So the positive aspect is that you can know your spouse much more about his or her behavior, needs, and you can come closer, having a good bonding with not only your spouse but also your children. Because of work, you were not able to probably give time to even to your parents, your children, your spouse, which is probably a God-given opportunity, which we all say, and you can have a positive impact on it in your family, and you can share the problems, you can work together in the family, and talk to your spouse more often, your children more often, your parents and the relatives more often, from both the sides, from your family as well as the spouse's family. and by that way you can have an increased bond, as well as you can share your stress as well, which everybody is going through in this pandemic. As far as Indian Psychiatric Society is concerned, we are going through a number of online surveys, in which one survey is still going on, and that is regarding relationship problems. And the results are yet to be analyzed, and it will definitely be published in Indian Journal of Psychiatry, which is the national journal of Indian Psychiatric Society, and we'll be able to know what is happening to the relationships during this COVID pandemic period. The other way around, looking at it, as Mr. Lal has said, that the divorce rates are increasing, and the reason could be because they are staying or having much more time together, and because of which, as both the spouses as well as their family members are stressed out, and they are having facing so many hardships of lockdown, economic problems and whatnot, as well as social distancing and all. So because of which they are highly stressed, and also because of the high infectious nature of this illness as well. So during this stress period, it is likely that small trivial matters can balloon itself, and because of which intolerance may come into play, and they are not able to tolerate each other because they are staying together, locked in a house for 24 hours, and this is going on for a long time. So it is, I would say, very important to understand that what is happening, what is the situation, world over is facing this situation. So we should be much more tolerant, and rather than getting touchy or sensitive on trivial matters, and we should try to share our whatever our stress, our agony with the family members, and we should be tolerant, we should be more tolerant, and we should be knowing the problem the spouse is facing, or the children is facing, or the elderlies are facing. So by that measure, one is able to actually tolerate each other, and can get rid of the small trivial stresses, or maybe some conflicts which can be solved then and there. Then the other thing is that give some time to yourself as well, because that is also very important. And when you can carry out your own routine work, including some sort of morning exercise, yoga, pranayama, and and some relaxation exercises, some meditation, and if you are having hobbies of reading some books, and having some instrument music, or maybe going for some computer applications, and you want to learn something, then you can do either alone, or maybe jointly with your family and children, and as well as your parents. So this way you can adjust the situation. And the other thing which I would highlight is that do away from infodemics. We are calling it infodemics because it is pandemic of information also nowadays. Every news media, or say electronic media, television, everywhere it is, social media, everywhere it is about corona, about COVID, and this many numbers have increased, this many people have died, and this and that. So one should be very careful to analyze things, and what we will say, that go to a government site only once or twice a day, not more than that. Rather try to inculcate your hobbies, say because of time, if you could not see older movies or older songs, or maybe whatever you wanted to say, or read some good books. So you can start doing all these things now. This is the time when you should do all these things. So at the end, I would like to say that this is the time to know each other, to have a good bonding between the family members, and try to be more tolerant, and try to understand the situation and react accordingly. And this will actually improve the bonding. As far as divorce rates are concerned, the data will come in due course of time. Then only we will be able to let you know things. But don't go for substance use, because with alcohol, tobacco, and other substances, it may lead to violence. There are some data of the increase in domestic violence also. So I would like to say that be tolerant, don't go for substance use as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dalal, for giving the details. And Dr. Dalal has mentioned that there are negative aspects as well as the positive aspects of the COVID-19. And he's mentioned about the positive aspect that the families have been reunited. They are spending more time with each other, spouses, children, parents, and that is a very, very positive thing, because earlier they were busy in their works, so they could not spend time. They were not giving time to their children or the parents. Now, because of the COVID-19, they are spending time, and they are knowing each other's about each other's shortcomings or the good things. But he says, because of the negative aspect is because everyone is in the same room for so many months, for 24 hours. And that's why there are problems which are not there earlier. And for that, he has suggested that one should be tolerant. One should not, one should try to overlook the small things which are happening and try to be very, very tolerant. Try to develop the new hobbies, whether reading the books or watching the old movies. And he says, do the pranayam, yoga, exercise, whatsoever you want to do, but please keep yourself fit so that your mentally health will be also fine. And he says, don't go for the pandemic or that info pandemic, the name which he has given. According to him, whatsoever the newses are coming, talking 24/7 about the COVID only, is harmful and it gives a mental stress. So it is better that you avoid those things and try to concentrate on your family, good things, try to talk to your in-laws and keep a harmony among yourself. Thank you, Dr. Dalal, for giving the details. Now my next guest is Dr. Rajiv Anand. Dr. Rajiv Anand is the senior psychiatrist and marriage counselor. He is leading in the field of mental and emotional well-being for 40 years. He was president of IMA for 2 times. He was interviewed in several talk shows in domestic as well as internationally. Welcome, Dr. Anand, on our show. Please unmute yourself. Dr. Anand, you have heard what Professor Dr. Dalal said. He says there are both the aspects, positive as well as negative, of COVID-19. And he says it all depends how we can tolerate, because he also understands that because of the 24 hours, one person is locked in the same family with the same people, not going out, lots of tensions, including economic tensions, and that's why the problem can start among the spouse. But he says if we will overlook the small petty things, we can definitely adjust ourselves, and we can get more bondings, as well as we can enjoy the family life with our parents and the children as well as the spouse. Now we would like to know the COVID-19 impact on married life. Dr. Rajiv Anand, please.
Okay, good morning, viewers, and good morning, my co-panelists, Dr. Dalal, Khushboo, and Tanuja, and Ms. Rashi Lashkari. And thanks to Mr. Lal Goel, who have organized this wonderful program. And I'm very hopeful that 5 of panelists, combined with Mr. Lal, would prepare a bouquet of simple, practical tips, which would spread across through these various TV channels to lakhs of viewers who are in different states, and they can convert it into something very easy, effective, practical things right from this evening onwards. So none of us would be giving any theoretical talk or any lecture, but we are sharing some of the things which are very simple and happening day-to-day life, happening almost to everyone. In fact, Corona or COVID-19 has given us surprises which we had never imagined that we shall be going. And I take it as a part of a divine planning. I take it as a part of a big planning, which we had never anticipated. Who had ever thought that we would be stuck to the home for almost 5 months? and no opportunity to go out and meet people, who had expected that we shall be cut off from the social circle and from the office and other things and the malls and the restaurants and whatnot, and who had anticipated that we will have to convert our life into a different format. But lo and behold, all of us did. And all of us realized that we could live without the malls, without the restaurant, without the movies, without the friends, without the kitty parties. So we realized that we have great adapting ability in us. All of us did realize over the last few months or so, much contrary to our expectation earlier, we have great ability to adapt the situation as and when it comes. Suppose if I come to South India and there's a lot of heat, so my body would over 1 or 2, 3, 4 times would adjust with that. Similarly, vice versa, if I go to a cold country over the next few days, so we have great capacity to adapt to the situation. So with the marriage. Marriage has thrown unprecedented challenges to both partners because most of us have entered marriage through conventional modes of relationship कि भाई अब तुम बड़े हो गए हो शादी कर लो, अब तुम बड़ी हो गई हो शादी कर लो, तुम्हें वो लड़का देखने में अच्छा लगता है, तुम्हें वो लड़की देखने में अच्छी लगती है, वो पढ़ा लिखा है, वो पढ़े लिखे, शादी कर लो, अब तुम्हारी उम्र हो गई है, नहीं तो बात में नहीं होगी. So we have entered in marriage forced by, compelled by more social factors, occasionally psychological factors or emotional factors. But we have not sincerely worked hard at the institution or at the depth of the marriage relationship. And these last 5 months, as I said, divine planning, as I said, a great opportunity. Last 5 months, all of us sitting in any part of the world, all of us across all boundaries of the caste and culture and countries, we all are sitting God's provided classroom when we have to increase our understanding about marriage. कि हम मैरिज में अंदर आ तो गए हैं लेकिन हमारे झगड़े होते थे, हमारे क्लैशेस होते थे, हम दोनों के बीच में मनमुटाव होता था. अब हमें समझने का मौका मिलेगा क्यों होता था. All of us probably have faced complaints from our near and dear ones, and specifically from the spouse, that you don't spend as much time with me. And now we are spending all the time with them. Can we say that all the quarrels and all the skirmishes are over? No, they are not over. That means it was not merely time which was a factor. There was something more than that. All of us miscommunication. People complain about you don't talk to me. Nowadays we have plenty to talk, plenty of time to talk. Can we say that no conflict between husband and wife? No, there is still conflicts between them. That means the time and the communication was not the only factor. Just by word, there is much more to it. How do we use that time? How we share that time? How many activities we pack in that time? How many variety of ways we make that time exciting or interesting, or we bring the best out of each other, or we reduce the worst going out of us. That utilization of time in a very creative, very productive and effective way is a skill to be learned. If not learned, then we would be husband and wife, but constantly we would be quarreling, maybe in public, maybe in social life, we may have a smile, how are you, we are fine. But deep inside, back at home, we fight with each other. Same way, if we do not learn the communication skills, which now we have an opportunity, then we shall have problem in the regular day-to-day life. So this is an opportunity to increase communication skills, which I would be explaining further, where we are missed and how we can do in the part of the tip when we give that. Third part, when we are living together, then we are having this opportunity to know each other a little more closely, which can be used as a positively more often than a negative. Because most spouses have been giving a wrong impression that being married to a guy or being married to a girl, as if it is a license to own her, as if the other person who is wedded to you or married to you is yours 24 by 7. Person should get up with your permission, should sit down with your permission, should go to the kitchen with your permission, should sit this way, should sit now this way. So that marriage had become unconsciously an medium of controlling each other. This word, even though a simple word, but last 5 months have brought this to the surface that marriage is not a license to control each other. Marriage was a license to care for each other, communicate to each other in as many variety of ways, connect with each other as many variety of ways, make each other's life as much as possible comfortable, make each other feel bonded with you. But somehow we did not learn about those aspects. We begin controlling. Last 5 months brought this point to the surface. The wife wants to control the husband, husband wife to control the wife, and they blame it on Corona time. They blame it on COVID. Well, as I said, this is a great opportunity to look inside, look within what was working, what was not working. There is no other way millions or rather billions of people could sit together in the same class and could learn few basic principles of relationship in marriage. And here is that opportunity. So I would request everybody to look inside. Everybody whosoever is sitting within UP or Bihar or Karnataka or Kerala or Bombay or Dubai, anywhere, everybody look inside why I have frequent clashes. Is it so I don't like my wife? No. Is it so I don't like my husband? No. I do not like certain things done by him or said by him. Why not let me ask? Because in the communication area, which I was saying few minutes back, problem is happening that we are misusing communication. We are misapplying communication. We are not using it in a proper way. We are shouting. We are showing our intolerance. We are showing our insensitivity because naturally, if we would be living together in a claustrophobic atmosphere, whether we have 1 BHK or 4 BHK, yet I would say claustrophobic because we are cut off from the nature. We are confined to the interiors of it. And mind is not accustomed of being confined to the small space. That's all happen only in the jail, only in the prison. And there we call it cellmate. And here we are soulmate. So soulmate has been put into to become a cellmate. That's why the skirmishes or the conflicts or the showdowns are there. So we both need to be little more open to why not ask each other. What I'm saying is the communication has been so compressed that we are flaring up on small things rather than asking whether you are, if I can ask anyone over here, can you hear me? What's wrong about it? Can you hear me? If somebody can't hear me, I would raise my volume or I can ask, can somebody see me or not? So we don't ask because we don't want to be told that what we were doing was not correct. We all have problems in our self acceptance. So last few months have put much greater pressure on the marriage because both partner, both key partner, both spouse had not looked into their own psyche, into their own behavior, into their own emotions and their approaches. Last 4.5, 5 months have put magnifying glass on those deficiencies in us. So this, I'm saying it third time, this is a great opportunity to take advantage of this 5 months to work at the marriage because we did not attend to that earlier. We took it for granted. शादी हो गई है, बच्चे हैं, 2 बच्चे हो गए हैं, और क्या चाहिए? हम फादर बन गए हैं, हम मदर बन गए हैं. What else is required for to know that we are married? And we go to the party or we go outside and somebody asks me, how are you? We say, fine, we are very good. But everybody knows that beyond that word fine, deep inside, there's a storm going on. It's almost second relationship. So this is an opportunity for work into that. Why not we should ask? We have forgotten to ask our close people where we are not doing what is irritating them, what is bringing the worst out of them, what is annoying them. We have forgotten to ask. We have begun taking them for granted. COVID time has brought this to the surface. We need to ask. We need to ask frequently, and according to the replies, we need to fine tune our behavior. So, COVID, repeatedly, I have to say this, is more a friend to us. This time, we would never have opted for, if somebody would have asked us to go for 1 month quarantine for working on marriage, nobody would have done it. If we would have been even offered incentive of few lakhs rupees, give 1 month you and your wife together for working at a marriage, nobody would have gone for it. But today we are. So we should take this COVID-19 provided opportunity as a great one to work at our relationship, work in our own mind, work in our own approach. Because somewhere, one more point, which I am bringing it out in this context, why we have quarrels in Corona time? Because somewhere deep down, we do not treat our spouse with due respect, with due respect. We treat the person as merely a husband or a wife. We treat the person merely as a girl or a boy. We treat the person as merely someone who cooks the meal at home or keep the house clean, or someone who earns the money and bring to the home. Much more than that is a connectivity between a husband and wife. We got married because Band Baja Barat, we got married because parents, grandparents wanted. That's not enough for marriage. That was the social dimension of marriage. There are many more dimensions of marriage where individually each one has to work. And if we haven't worked, then all those things would come to the surface and would explode. So Corona induced lockdown, induced last 5 months period of being together is one of the greatest opportunity never before and hopefully never again. Lot more can be deduced out of it, lot more can be taken out of it for the benefit of every married life. I'm ending over here,
Thank,
and in the
thank,
subsequent section, I
thank,
would come back.
thank you, Dr. Anand, for giving the details about the married life. And Dr. Anand has mentioned very clearly about the adaptability. And he says that we are the human beings, we are very much adaptable for the situations wherever we go. So why not this Corona time where we are living together, the spouses are living together for 5 months or 4 months, 24 hours, we should adapt each other. We should not have the authority. We should not try to put our authority that I owe you or you owe me, and we can ask that because the spouse doesn't means that you have purchased somebody or you are owning the other partner. And he has also mentioned about the communication, that we must communicate with our spouse softly, try to understand and come out with the suggestions which are feasible for the married life. He said that earlier we were not getting any time for each other, and the complaint of the spouse that you are not spending time with me. But now time is there, so much time is there, and they are spending the entire time. So should not be a complaint, but still the quarrels are there. It means this is not the correct thing. And he has also said that earlier the spouse said, you are not talking to me, you are talking here and there. But now the time is there to talk with each other. So according to him, this is a very good opportunity. The Corona has given us opportunity to make our married life successful, try to come out with the shortcomings. Whatsoever the shortcomings, we can very well sort out by using all our communications, by using this precious time when we are logged in with a spouse, and try to be adjusting and see what are the needs. And he has also mentioned that the wedding with the Band Baja Barat was a social obligation, but the only thing in the married life that we should understand each other completely, then only our married life will be successful, and not try to get all this type of the pressure, the tensions unnecessarily. Otherwise, we have no other option just to destroy our married life. But he is very, very positive that this is a very good opportunity for all the married people to and take the use this opportunity to make your marriage successful. Thank you, Dr. Anand, for giving so much details. I am sure our viewers will be very happy to listen and viewing all this, and they will try to adopt what you have said, as you have already mentioned that people are very adaptable. So the viewers will also adapt if they have any such type of problem. Now, my next guest is Miss Rashi Laskari. Miss Rashi is the counseling psychologist practicing in Mumbai for last 10 years. She is her expertise in individual relationship and family therapy. Uh, Ms. Rashi Laskari, you have already heard what Professor Dr. P.K. Dalal has mentioned, as well as Dr. Rajiv Anand has mentioned. And according to both of them, that this is a very, very positive time for married life. Although Professor Dalal has given the negative aspects also, and he said that because the spouses are there for 24 hours, so the differences are coming, people are not understanding, they want to go out. But he has also given the positive aspect that this is the right time when we should do the yoga, exercise, pranayam, and try to create more new hobbies, whether book reading or watching the old movies. And he said it's the right time for spending time with your children, parents, and talk to your in-laws, so the families can be together and come closer. Dr. Rajiv Anand has given the aspect, he's very, very positive. He says there's an opportunity, this is the best opportunity for any married life, whether they were having any problem earlier, they can very well be together and try to sort out the things, because they are locked up in the same room or same flat of 1 BHK or 4 BHK or a bungalow, but with the same environment. So he is very positive, and he feels that one can very well adjust, one can very well try to sort out their differences, because one can adapt very easily in the present scenario, and the human nature is to adapt. Now we would like to know the COVID-19 impact on married life. Ms. Rashi Lashkari, please.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Goel, for having me over and for organizing this. Thank you for inviting me for this interactive discussion, and along with other esteemed guests. We're all noticing the impact of the pandemic on most people around us. And when the lockdown began and when all of this started, the pattern that we were seeing, whether socially or in practice on the basis of the clients that came in with the concerns in our day-to-day counseling sessions, was more at an individual level. People were finding it difficult to deal with the fear or the uncertainty of the situation. The major radical shift that came in their routines, work-wise, or managing home as well as work and many other responsibilities, there was a monumental change that people saw at a very personal level. And as we do understand of relationships by common sense, is that when we see a relationship or we see a marriage, we see two people, and these two people coming as two individuals, coming with their own issues, coming with their own personalities, coming with what each one can contribute to the relationship. It is the two that make the relationship. Already, both Dr. Dalal and Dr. Anand, both very senior, experienced, professionals, have given their understanding on marriage and the impact of it. I'm going to take this a step further and talk on relationship, not just from the point of view of a couple as in a marriage, but also couples who are together, who are either about to get married, or who are dating, or who are in a long distance relationship, and for that matter even long distance marriage. We have seen so many couples who were either married and were in different cities for work, and have gotten separated by borders, so to say, because they can't travel to see each other. And in another situation, I would expect that, okay, we're in a long distance marriage or a long distance relationship, and there is an acceptance to say that yes, it's okay, we are comfortable with the fact that we don't see each other for weeks or months. But here was a situation where until when we don't see each other was not clear. So that uncertainty is also what has taken its toll on the marriage. Having said that, when I was talking about individual contributing to a relationship or individual contributing to a marriage, the point here is that each individual's own emotional well-being and own healthy habits, and by healthy habits I mean healthy emotional and mental habits, contribute significantly either positively or negatively towards the marriage. So even if one partner is coming with their own anxiousness or their own fears, which would safely be considered normal but not healthy in the current times, each one has their own coping mechanism, which by and large we have not been exposed to so much. Like has been discussed earlier, so much time has not been spent together in a concentrated way over the probably over the whole patch of your relationship or of your marriage. So spending so many months together, this is the first time that partners have come to expose themselves or orient themselves to their partner's coping mechanisms, to how they respond to stress, how they work under immense pressure, and seeing it firsthand, not understanding that my partner goes to work and manages these things. So each one is going through their own fears and apprehensions, which is not only affecting their own emotional health, but is also affecting how they are able to emotionally be available to their partners. And I am emphasizing on partners here because it applies to both married as well as unmarried couples. And this added two factors, like we said, such as if I can't physically see my partner, as humans, we thrive on physical interaction. We thrive on exchanging energies, exchanging affection for each other when we physically see each other, whether it is a romantic relationship or even a social relationship. And now, in the absence of that, or in other situations where we are living in a house just with the partner and there's no other social contact, that is also kind of becoming overwhelming because we're only seeing one person. So all of these things put together have had a impact on relationships in general, and marriages, or live-in relationships or long distance relationships more so. Now, coming to how we move forward, or what is the suggestion. While everybody may have aspired to have a lot of time together and to do things together, now we were put in a situation, like Dr. Anand very correctly mentioned, we had no choice but to spend that time together. So yes, it does make sense to make sure that every day there is, if not every day, at least every alternate day, there is a routine to what are the things that we do together, certain exercises that partners decide on, making sure that these are tasks that we always do together, even if we're in a long distance relationship. We see clients who are working through that, and they watch movies together while they're not sitting in the same country. They work out together while they're not sitting in the same city. And of course, if you are in the same household, then to do things like that together. Also, while you are in the same household, there is obviously going to be a chance that you're not able to find space for yourself. With the current pandemic and the lockdown situation, especially in India, the lockdown has been back and forth, and it has led us to a space where there is a overlap of our lives. In the sense, our domestic lives are overlapping our professional lives. We're working and eating and working out, or having our romantic relationships from the exact same space. So that lack of space for yourself, lack of space for other things that you want to do, is also what is biting into relationships. So very important that people identify this and recognize this, and have a healthy discussion about this with your partner if you are feeling that that lack of space is kind of becoming difficult. And take that space out. Even if you are physically in the same space, make sure that mentally and emotionally you are moving away from the relationship to do your own thing, nourish your own needs, take care of yourself, and come back to the relationship to enjoy more of what can be done together. uh, when there's going to be so much crossing paths and so much time shared, there is also more likely conflict, more likely misunderstanding. So another thing that I have to kind of mention here is the need to give benefit of doubt, the need to not read too much into, not allow your stressors and your pressures to sort of be displaced onto the relationship, or displacement of your emotions onto the relationship. So give benefit of doubt to the misunderstandings that are happening. As far as coming to decisions, because a lot of couples are in the current situation feeling a pressure to decide what to do. We're engaged, we don't get to see each other for so long, should we call it off? We're married, we're not working out, should we call it off? And in that sense, this is a phase, it is going to pass, and this is not a time to take impulsive decisions on the basis of the current pressures and current stress that's going on. So all individuals, all relationships, couples, married couples, should kind of hold on right now and look at how they can come out of this phase stronger. I come out of a challenging time. When I come out of a challenging time with victory, is when I also feel stronger as an individual. And if I do it as part of my relationship, then as a couple, we feel stronger that we went past this time and we were able to cross all the hurdles that came our way, instead of giving up and saying that this doesn't seem to be working out. So of course, for now, these are some of the suggestions and some of my views on the impact of COVID on relationships as well as marriage. And as we go ahead, I would be looking forward to the question answer session and more discussion on this.
Thank you, Ms. Rashi Lashkari, for giving the details about the, and you have mentioned very clearly about that couples. According to you, it's not only the married people who are already, the marriage took place, but there are who are engaged, or who are dating, or who are likely to marry, or there are those who are married, but they are locked due to the lockdown. They are in the different countries or different cities. So you have given the details about them, and according to you, people are getting the stress. Either they are living together, then the stress is there. If they are not living together, then the stress is there. But it is a time that we should try to think that this is a temporary phase. It will pass off, and if we will cross this phase properly, we will be a victorious. And she has mentioned one thing very clearly, that there are couples or those who are staying not together, rather distant, like in one country and other country. They are doing exercises together, they are doing many things, activities together, they are watching movies together, because of the technology, because of their time, and they sit, okay, I am also watching this movie, the same movie you also watch. Now this type of thing can remove the stress of what's happening because of the lockdown. And she also mentioned that when you all are together, try to adjust, see to it that we should not explore anything which is going to harm the marriage life, because this time will not be there forever. And according to her, this time is a very productive time if you use it properly, if you understand each other, because the all of the before the marriage you could not have that much adjustment, but now because of the lockdown, whether you are staying together, whether you are not staying together, you can adjust, you can understand your spouse or the couple or the other partner easily. Thank you, Ms. Rashi Lashkari, for giving such a detailed about the couples or those who have not yet been married, or those who are waiting for the marriage, and because of the lockdown the marriage is not taking place, they have to postpone the marriage, but after all they are also feeling so much stress during this time. Now I would like to go to my next guest. She is Dr. Khushboo Sheth. Dr. Sheth is the clinical neuropsychologist as well as NLP coach and counselor. She is founder of REK, uh, and she is Dr. Khushboo Sheth is based in Dubai. Now, I would like to tell Dr. Khushboo Sheth, you have heard what Professor Dalal, Dr. Rajiv Anand, and Ms. Rashi Lashkari has mentioned. One thing is very clear: the COVID-19 has impacted the married life, whether positively or negatively. Because according to Professor Dalal, there were negative effects as well as the positive effects. And according to Dr. Anand, there are lots of opportunity this lockdown has brought, and we must utilize this opportunity. And what Ms. Lashkari said, that even those couples or those who are not yet married, but they are likely to go for marriage, or even they are married but they are staying apart because of the lockdown, there are lots of things they can do to remove this stress for the time being, because this is a temporary phenomena which will pass, and then one can very well say that we have come out very strong, because after the corona will or the COVID will go, their relationship will be far more stronger. Now we would like to know the COVID-19 impact on married life. Dr. Khushboo Sheth, please.
Well, good morning to the co-panelists and to you, Mr. Lal. What I'd say is we are trying to adjust to a new normal. Our normal lives that used to be routine, and we used to work, go to work, or have our household chores and things like that. That has changed now, and COVID-19 is definitely one of the things that we've adjusted to, adapted to, like Doctor said. So we are adjusting to the new normal, and we are stretching out of our comfort zones. We've taken too many things, people for granted, especially our spouses. And we are so habitual to having that person around that we do not attend or care or nurture things. So this is the time for us to actually take a look back and understand, nurture our relationships at home, especially with our spouse, work on them. And COVID-19 certainly has put into focus that change is something that not difficult to deal with. We are changing constantly as human beings, as partners, as students, as teachers, as professors, as doctors. Everything, every day we're changing, but we don't acknowledge that. And we always have a problem with change. But now, because of COVID-19, it has pushed us into actually realizing that change is the only constant in life. So yes, couples are facing problems. Couples are even working on relationships. We are staying in the same house. Sometimes it's a joint setup, a joint family setup. So there's added pressure on a couple, not just with each other, but with everybody around. There are couples are having even issues when because children are homeschooling, especially. So space for children, space for themselves, space for them individually. It's all at a new decorum right now. So COVID-19 has a lot of positive things also, not just negative. Yes, it's positive. It's positive in a way that people are getting time from their routine to actually work on each other, to work on themselves, to work on their family setup, on their kids, especially because sometimes because of our working culture, we don't give time to the children, and children normally complain, mama is not home or papa is not home. But now is the time to build that too, because at the end of the day, they are a most integral part of a marriage. So now is the time where you focus on your marriage, you focus on your children, which are a very important factor to your marriage. I have seen many cases of people actually having stress in marriage because of no quality time with kids. So now this is giving you that kind of time, to do things together. There are couples who are working out on that, working to be a part of the upbringing of their children together, not just individually. And this is something really, really to work out on, because children tomorrow are the future, and we are working on our future in the present situation, which is wonderful. COVID has brought people together. Yes, there are people who have been separated due to border restrictions also, but there also is time to reflect, to understand, and not take each other for granted, not get into a habit, not get into a routine, and stretch out of our comfort zones and see the opposite person also in light. Not just be selfish towards ourselves. Oh, I'm going through this. Oh, I'm the one who's the breadwinner. Oh, she's at home. She's the homemaker. What does she do? No, you can go out and work because she's at home supporting you and taking care of the household. So now is your time. Divide the household chores, do it together, make it a way of life. Even when the pandemic ends, it's going to teach us a lot of things which we've not either focused on, or we have unlearned in the process of our daily routine. Couples are coming together, helping out in the kitchen, doing the household chores together. Then when this work and this pressure is less, you get time to communicate, something that we don't do otherwise. We do not communicate in the right way. Either it comes out as an anger, or it's a text on the phone that I want to be left alone, don't talk, or whatever it is. Now is the time, communicate, build on that. It's a time to build, not to pull down anything. That's what I would say. And when we start working and solving issues with our partner, our generation becomes healing rather than a repetition. And I think that is worth the effort. That's all I'd like to say.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sheth, for giving the details. And she said this is a new norm now, and we have to live with this. But her emphasis are the children, because she says the children are your integral part of your marriage life. And when you have now the opportunity to give time to see what they are doing and about their upbringing, about what they need, that is the right time. So then the married life will be very happy, because if the children's need, which we were avoiding or which were not being given that much attention due to the work pressure, now this is the right opportunity that we must concentrate on our children. She also said that the spouses earlier were thinking that I am a breadwinner, or what she is doing, she's a homemaker, or vice versa. But mainly the only the male is a breadwinner, and the women generally not. I will not say the male this thing, but in spite of that, this is an opportunity when you are also at home, both of the partners at home, they are working, they should divide the work, they should work in the kitchen. Then the communication which you are doing will be very fruitful, because otherwise you are doing the communication on the messages and all those things, but now you are talking to each other face to face. And that's why, according to her, this is a very good positive time that we must work out in such a way that our married life will be successful. And she is very hopeful that this pandemic, when it will be over, even after once it is over, your habit of sharing the work of homework, of the household work, will continue even after that. Thank you, Dr. Sheth, for giving your views and especially your emphasis on children, which is very, very important in the present scenario. And especially when the online education is on, there are cases where they complained because who is going to take care of the children? If they have to take the care of the children of online education, what will be who is going to do the work? But now, because of the lockdown, the spouses have understood one thing, that if they will divide the household work, it will be very easy, and it is a key to the success for their happy married life. Now, I would like to go to our next guest. She is Miss Tanuja Maben. Miss Maben is BA LLB MA English, MSc Counseling and Physiotherapy, Psychotherapy. Am I correct, Miss Maben? Can you just unmute yourself? Psychotherapy, correct. She is the director of Frodder Academy. She is the co-founder of Basil Cafe, trainer, counselor, and therapist. Welcome, Ms. Maben, on our show. You have heard what Professor Dr. Dalal, Dr. Anand, Ms. Lashkari, and Ms. Dr. Sheth has mentioned. Although everyone is mentioning the positive aspect, although they have given the negative, but in today's discussion, the positive part of the discussion is that everyone has given a new angle. Like Professor Dalal has mentioned about the negative part, but he says that the positive part is the opportunity which we have got, and we should develop the new hobbies if we are not having, like watching old movies, listening music, or doing exercises and pranayam, etc. Dr. Anand is very much hopeful and very positive. He says this is the right time. You must use this time to get your married life more and more adjustable and successful. Miss Lashkari has mentioned taking a new dimension. She mentioned about those couples who are not staying together because of the lockdown, or they are not yet married, engaged, or they are dating. So she has given that angle to our discussion, and she has also mentioned this is the right time that they all should adjust themselves. They will come to know about each other far better than if there is no lockdown. And Dr. Sheth has mentioned about the children, that this is the right time that the family, the couple or the husband or wife, they must concentrate, try to give more and more time to the children, so that the understanding between the family, between the husband and wife will be far better, and try to adjust about the household work, try to share the work, and make it a habit even after the COVID-19. According to her, we must, we means the husband and wife or the couple should try to do work jointly in future also. So this is the key for the happy married life, but given in a different dimensions with all the earlier speakers. Now we would like to know the COVID-19 impact on married life. Miss Tanuja Maben, please.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. And thank you for this opportunity. And also, it was a nice time and to listen to every panelist, my co-panelist. And it was a very different dimension from each one of you. Of course, change is inevitable. And this particular COVID has brought a sea change in each one of our life. The first time when it gave a shock, it was a surprise to everybody. And that surprise was forced surprise, because we had to take that change, be it marital, be it the parent, be it with the children, with the in every relationship. It has given us the time to work on our every relationship. We started in the marital, we started seeing each other, feeling each other, understanding each other. And in the initial days, it was happiness, it was joy, that we could find some time to be with our partner. We could share some of the things. We could be together in the kitchen. We could do the exercises. We could share our different ideas. And everything was a surprise, and the happiness and the laughter was around. But there was a flip side also. The second transition has given us the second surprise now. Initially, when there was a number of the COVID patients, it used to traumatize. But later, we got adjusted to it. Maybe in the similar way, the relationship also got adjusted. We got adjusted with our partners. But unless and until we see every person as unique, every person is important, we get bored with the other person. Many of the times in every relationship, we want to be accepted. Our opinion has to be accepted. We don't want to be rejected. This is the main thing in every relationship. The moment the rejection comes, there is a gap in the relationship. But we don't see that every person has got their own perception, their own angle, their own dimension. Now, suppose we are 6 people or 7 people over here, and we have different dimension. Similarly, in our marriage relationship also, the two individual has got a different opinion. Here, when I look into it, more than a person, more than a relationship, I would look at it as a mind. There are so many things we have learned in our growing age. There are root causes for every behavior of us. And we have become so adaptable that even when we do certain mistakes, we don't realize that we are doing certain mistakes. Only when others say, we may or may not accept it. But that has become a habit for us. So we try to find fault with the other person because we think that what the other person is doing is wrong. But we don't see what we are doing is also a wrong for the others. So in neuro-linguistic programming, we say that map. So every person has got a map. We have our own ways of values, we have our own way, our memories, or we have our own ways of do's and don'ts in our life. We have made our own map and we carry that map and go along that everybody fits into that map. The moment the person doesn't fit into it, we don't get adjusted to it. But that also says that respect the other's map. We have our map and also we have to respect the other's map. That brings in the relationship. That brings in that, yes, I do it and he or she also will do it. And that brings in the closeness or the connectivity in any relationship. The third one, what I want to say is let go. This is the one thing what we all have to learn. Unless we let go, every moment has to be taken as this is a new life. This is a new moment. This is a new thing what I have in my life. So once we focus on that, we disconnect from whatever the mistakes or whatever the nagging or whatever the finding faults, we disconnect from that. We try to see good things in a person. The more you see the good things in a person, we bring down the finding fault with the other person. And find what is good in us. We also should immediately see what is good in me, what I can do. Our focus should be towards us. That is why everywhere we say that self-awareness. Yes, of course, this particular lockdown period has also given us the time for ourselves, to mirror ourselves, to see what am I going through. Unless I see that what is that emotion which I'm going through, if I have to behave like this, if I have to speak. Now, for example, there is lack of communication. Even though we speak, the way we speak is different. But if we understand ourselves, the way I speak, what is my tone, what is that made me to speak in such a way, the self-awareness, once we start doing it, we find time or we do our own course corrections in our life. The moment we think that we have done certain mistake, and accepting the other's mistake is very easy for us. So I would say that every person has to look into themselves and find what is the emotion which is going through, find what is the behavior, what am I going to exhibit. So once we do it, when we polish our own behavior and the personality traits, it's also that we have to see, accept other person. And when we do it, this could be a very good lesson for the next generation also. and we are in the adopting stage. I only say that we have to accept, appreciate, and empower. When we empower the other person, and that person will be comfortable to come and share with us, to experience, or to have a closer relationship. This is what I want to tell you.
Thank you, Ms. Tanuja Maben, for giving the details. And according to her, the initial phase was very exciting when everybody was sitting together at home, doing work together. It was a very, very good experience. But she says that there's a flip side also. When the people were together, they were started pointing out their shortcomings. But according to her, the best thing in this COVID-19 is that you must self-assess yourself. And if you are thinking, or you will just see how you are behaving with others, because if your behavior is good, the others will also behave nicely with you. And she says that try to see the good qualities of others instead of thinking of only the shortcomings. And if you will see the good qualities, the chances of difference of opinion or the quarrel will be far less. And she insists that the self-assessment is the best thing. Try to think about you, how you are behaving, what are your shortcomings. And if you improvise this, because the lockdown has given the opportunity that you can see yourself, the reactions, immediate reactions, because all are locked down and the partner and the entire family is with you. And she says this is the right opportunity to develop the good relationship, not only with the partner, with the entire family. Thank you very much, Ms. Meban, for giving the details. And you have come out with a new angle that is about the self-assessment. So we today in these discussions, we found all different angles to make a married life successful. Now I would like to go to Professor Dalal. Professor Dr. Dalal, do you think last few months of lockdown has thrown unexpected, unprecedented challenges to married life? Professor Dalal, please.
Thank you for the question. This is right that it is not only in married life but all walks of life. It has thrown a new challenge. And as we all know that married life is so important, because majority, or I would say most of our lifetime, we live with our partners, so it, and with our family in India especially. So it is very, very important that to perceive the changes in the lockdown or in the COVID pandemic, which has been forced upon the mankind. The other thing is that no one has any previous experience. Probably nobody is alive when the last pandemic occurred. So basically, we all are new, we all are learning, and different age group people are having different kinds of marital life. They are going through different kinds of marital life, that those, as has been said, those who are about to be married, those who are newly married, those who are having children, and those who are having at the pinnacle of their career, and those who are leading a retired life. So all the strata of age groups, they are having different kinds of problems which they have otherwise also would have been facing, but because of this pandemic and lockdown, it is a different challenge altogether. So as has been said that there are many positives of it, and I would rather say that it is, there are certain negatives which all the panelists have said how to overcome it, to self-analyze, to analyze others' behavior. And I would say that you can really, with your spouse, you can work out and you can jot down together do's and don'ts, which we often talk about. So if you really jot down what are the do's and what are the don'ts for both the partners, it can work, as well as with the children, with your parents, and with other family members who are living together. And there are so many positives to learn about, that I am more hopeful that gradually we all know that this period will be over and we will be able to go back to our normal, relationship and normal situation. But at that time, the positives we will be taking along with us, and that is going to stay with us for lifelong. So that is that should be our aim, that what positives which we were not able to understand because of our busy schedule, we shall be able to take them forward. So that is
Okay.
our main take.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Dr. Dalal, for giving the reply. And according to Dr. Dalal, yes, this is an unprecedented and unexpected challenge which has come. And because he says that last pandemic, which has come a century ago, nobody was alive to share the experiences. So in this pandemic, challenges are there for everyone, not only the married life, for everyone. But he says that we should try to work out and come out. And he has mentioned a new thing also, that we should jot down do's and don'ts. If we will do this, we can very well lead a very, very happy married life, because we can understand what I have to do, what my spouse has to do, similarly the vice versa. So thank you, Dr. Dalal, for giving the new advice to the public at large. I'm sure that people are getting very, very valuable advices today from the top and the experts of this field. Now my question is to Dr. Anand. Dr. Anand, it is said in the report that earlier only 1% people were not happy with each other, or the divorce rate was very less. And the lockdown has increased. But do you think that 1% which we are talking, they otherwise all people were living very happily except those 1%, or there was something which were not coming out openly, and now because the spouse are staying together, so those differences are coming in open, and that's why the divorce rate has been increasing, what we have seen in China, as well as we are seeing some the cases are more increasing in the metro cities, the figures which are available with us. But earlier, do you think it was all the best, or it was that we were having the differences, but we were not putting out those differences because we want to avoid, the spouses are busy in their work, so they want to avoid the clashes. But now when they are staying together, they have more reasons to come out and file the cases. Dr. Anand, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Goel. Let me answer to many sub questions in your one big question. Happiness is a subjective thing. I may eat a gulab jamun, I may be happy. I may fly in business class, I may be happy. I may prefer a road journey, I may be happy, in which you may or may not. So happiness is a subjective thing. Second part, happiness is relative. It's never static. It's always ongoing. It's always comparative. Something may make me happy, something may not make someone else happy. Nothing is an absolute. People living in New Jersey, New York may think that people living in New Delhi are happy, and vice versa. Third thing, as you asked the question, that people earlier who were said to be going for divorce, of 1%, remaining 99%, were they happy? Yes, society expects us to be happy, and society doesn't expect us to wash our dirty line in public. So we owe it to the society to keep a smiling face. And someone asks us, how are you? So we have to reply, I'm fine, thank you, how are you? Beyond that, nobody asks second question. And beyond that, nobody expects second answer or third answer. कि भाई मेरी life बहुत miserable है, मेरा wife से झगड़ा होता है. We all cover it up. But practically, each one of us, to begin with me, have to constantly work at being happy and making others happy. And even though my sentence had been being happy and making others happy, maybe technically right, that if I'm happy, then I would make others happy. But I would say practical dimension, offshoot of it, if I make others happy, I would be happy. But in the course of marriage, we have been, from very beginning, have been conditioned to believe, मेरी शादी होगी, मेरी वाइफ होगी, जो मेरी सेवा करेगी, जो मुझे हैप्पी बनाएगी. We have been forced to believe my marriage, I am the husband, my wife, a girl who would surrender to me, would make me feel Pati Parmeshwar, would serve me would make food for me, would make house for me, would give children to me, and would make me feel proud of her that she's a beautiful girl. So I'm going to be happy made by her. So the wife had been made to believe that young prince would come, would take you into the arms, would make you move all over the world, would make you feel so happy and so elated. She had been expecting. So all of us have been made to believe that in marriage, other partner would make us happy. In that pursuit or with that belief, more often than not, people have been living unhappy life. They have not been working at being happy primarily and making sure that how their being or their personality or their talks or their thoughts or their behavior can make someone else happy. Leave aside someone else in the world, the one person you've taken a vow to live together for next 50 years, at least that person be happy. So people were not working on it. This 5 months mini earthquake, mini social earthquake kind of a thing, pandemic, should wake up people how I can make my nearest and dearest people happy. If I make them happy, I would be happy. So divorce rate had been for those who had never explored, they gave up, they surrender, they surrender arms कि हमको कुछ ना सीखना है ना कुछ करना है, हम साथ नहीं रह सकते. Marriage is not for that forced surrender or passive surrender. Marriage is for active, willing, loving surrender to each other. कि भाई हम दोनों ने शादी की, हम दोनों साथ सीखेंगे, हम दोनों साथ पढ़ेंगे. Then we shall continue increasing our happiness quotient and would make our marriage more and more successful. I think this brief answer is enough for your question.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Anand. According to Dr. Anand, he says that yes, when earlier it was 1%, but it doesn't mean that everyone was happy. But we have to understand one thing: being happy and keep other happy. Because what happens in the marriage, the expectations are high from both the side. The boy feels that the girl will come, cook the food, serve me, and whatnot. And the girl feels that he is a prince, he will take care of me, he will take me to everywhere and whatnot. So the expectations create the unhappiness. But this during the lockdown, it is a time to understand and to see that those unpleasantness should go away. And according to him, if you keep yourself happy and keep others happy, the lockdown will be a boon. And he has also mentioned in the North India, it is very much common, and that's why their unhappiness is more that side, because their expectation is more, and that is why we are having those cases which are happening today. Thank you, Dr. Anand. I am sure that our viewers should understand that if you are happy, be happy and keep others happy. If you will take this formula from Dr. Anand, this will be a very, very key and a success for the married life. Now, I would like to go to our next panelist. She is Mr. Rashi Lashkari. You have mentioned about the couples and all those who are staying together, who are not staying together. But now the question is, challenges during lockdown period has forced people to stay together. Now, will it improve relationship or spoil it? It's because what we have seen, because we have done one program earlier about the domestic violence as well as the mental health. On both the occasions, the panelist views were because the husband or wife, both are staying in the same house, their expectation increases. As Dr. Anand mentioned about the North India, he knows the North India well, as do I. The expectation of the husband is for different types of foods because he is staying whole day in the home. So the panelist views in the earlier program was these expectations are creating problem in the domestic violence as well as the mental health. And one of the panelists mentioned that the depression has increased drastically because of the increase of the demands. Now, we would like to know about you that because of this, they are staying together. Will it improve the relationship or spoil it? Ms. Lashkari, please.
So in my view, I don't think it would be fair to give an absolute answer to say that it would be it would improve. Sorry, I believe somebody is.
Yeah. No problem. I would.
Yeah. I don't think it'd be fair to give an absolute answer to say that it would improve or it would not improve, because it really is subjective to each couple and to each family's situation. However, it is really in the hands and in the control of each person to work towards improving it. You are absolutely right that there are situations where different people find themselves in have found themselves in different sort of struggles. Those who are going through any sort of domestic abuse or violence, those who live in with really large families in really small spaces, also are going through struggles. But each one has to sort of resolve to constantly work towards the issues that are there, whether it is at an individual level of my own emotional difficulties that I am going through in that case, or it is interpersonally between you and your partner. In whichever situation, if you are noticing that the marriage is going in a negative direction, or if you are noticing that it is going to it is emotionally disconnecting you from your partner, it totally makes sense to reach out for professional help and guidance. Because even if somebody is going through personal stress that is causing for difficulty either for the children or for the family or marriage, even then, whether individual counseling or for the family or for marriage, it is important that you reach out, so that we don't, the marriage doesn't reach a point where it's difficult to turn things around, or it's difficult to rework certain dynamics of the relationship. So to your answer to your question is that it could go either way. If not, if each couple or each person in the relationship is not aware to notice that this is spiraling down, or this is becoming a pattern which is unhealthy emotionally and mentally. I mean, of course, before the pandemic started, people only understood the importance of physical health. People went to work out and do things to take care of the eat well, eat clean. But ever since the lockdown has happened, and so much else is happening around us in terms of stress and pressure, people are now becoming more and more aware of taking care of their emotional health also. And that is the key to the marriage or the relationship either coming closer, becoming stronger, or going different ways. So my answer to that would be that it is not absolute that it has to go in either direction. If you feel as a individual, as a partner, as a couple, that this is not going in the right direction, or we are developing unhealthy communication patterns, or we are having a lot of conflicts that we are not able to resolve, it makes sense to reach out for professional help and guidance, only from the perspective of learning the right skills to help you cope with those situations. It's not like something's wrong with you. It's not like your marriage is a failure, so you have to reach out to a third person. You need to learn certain skills that can help you cope with this situation better. And if you get that guidance from a qualified experienced therapist or psychologist or a psychiatrist, you're sure to be able to turn things around and become closer, or come out of this stronger as a couple. So that would be my suggestion.
Thank you, Ms. Lashkari. And she has mentioned very clearly that it is very difficult to say whether because of the lockdown, people are staying together. Will it improve the relationship or spoil the relationship? It all depends individually on the families. But she has suggested one thing, that if you feel that your relationship is not going in a proper way or in a correct direction, you must consult a counselor, a physiotherapist, a psychologist, or a psychiatrist, because she says it is not that you are going, their marriages fail, because you may get some directions from them which will make your married life very successful. So according to her, it all depends on the individual, how you want to adjust in during this lockdown period, and learn the lesson that try to adjust each other, because otherwise it is if you can spoil your marriage, or it can be a good bonding, depends on the nature. But if you are going in a wrong direction, it can be corrected by an expert, which she has already mentioned. Thank you, Ms. Lashkari, for giving the advice. I am sure those who are facing some problems can consult nearby whosoever is qualified person, and they can very well get the advice, so that their married life will be a success. Now my question is to Dr. Sheth. Dr. Sheth, the COVID is a world phenomena. It's not for India or for any other places. Like now you are in Dubai, people are in USA, UK, and other places. Now we would like to know whether this COVID situation in the married life, the impact is similar in all countries or it's different. Like in India, we have seen the cases have increased. The China, we have seen the cases are increasing, whether in the form of domestic violence or mental tension or the married life. But what is the condition? You are in Dubai, you might be having exposure of other countries also. We would like to know from you about that during COVID, is the situation in married life similar in all countries? Dr. Khushboo Sheth, please.
Well, different countries, different setups, different nationalities, different traditions, different cultural backgrounds. So we can't say that in China the rates have increased, India the rates have. Yes, it's increasing everywhere. It's increasing. These are just statistics. They will rise. They will fall. So it's more over about how you actually bond and how you actually overcome issues like these. It's a married life, and yes, of course, in Dubai currently, I don't see that much of frustration or that kind of aggression in relationships, because here the lockdown is pretty much easier, and it's there's social distancing, people are following norms, it's much more convenient, people are moving around, so it's not all the time 24/7 in the house. Yes, you have to stay in the house to be safe, but at the same time life over here is much more easier, is much more coming to normal. So it's easier for people to get out of the house, have that me time, and break away from the routine of the actual pandemic that is happening, the scare that is happening, that I have to be confined in my home, I have to deal with my partner, I have to deal with my parents, with my children, and everything is so claustrophobic. Even if you have a big apartment, you have a villa, you have a one room, having too many people around for a long time just gets to run and rub on you sometimes. So yes, over here the situation is not that horrible or not that tense or not that aggressive, because lockdown is not that strict or not that confined over here. Over here people are moving out, life is a little bit easier. While in US also, yes, I have people, it's not that bad, but yes, divorce rates are going high. It's alarmingly reaching threefolds, which is very true. But at the same time, we need to focus that we can these are just statistics, we can bring them down, we can raise them up by sheer and only personal effort. If we make the effort, we'll see the results, and no matter what the effort and the outcome may be, it may be a break, you want to break away from marriage, it may be that you want to work on your marriage. So the outcome can be anything, but let's not forget to put an effort. Let's put an effort into it at least, so we know that we've made it, we've tried it. So there's what I'd like to say is every country is facing different lockdown guidelines. So everywhere the impact is different. People are different in different setups. In my home, I see the bonding is happening even more because my parents, my mother and my father, we live in two different countries. Okay, so they kind of got the quality time together. I have patients who are in Australia or in New York who have had to stay away. I have a person who was from Germany, was away, and got that kind of time to think about marriage, to think about where they were lacking. So yes, distance is playing its part, but at the same time, guidelines of the lockdown and the me time that you get or you don't get also affects the marriage.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sheth, for giving that answer. And according to her, it all depends on the guidelines and the condition of the lockdown in different countries. Because, she is staying in Dubai, she says here it's quite opening up because the cases are less and they have time to go out, meet the people. So the tension is far less in comparison to other countries or in comparison to India at least. And she said that even in Germany or in the USA also, people are now where their lockdown is opening, they are going out. So the tension which they were having or the stress which were earlier they were having is not that much. It is going down. Although she says the divorce rate in USA is increasing, but the divorce rate can increase and come down. That is all the figures which we should not just give any weightage, that much weightage. We should try to work out on our own married life and see to it that it should be successful. Thank you, Dr. Sheth, for giving your views about the country's position. Now, my question to Ms. Maben is, do you think during this lockdown, the educational background of spouse plays a very big role? Because where there are two three scenario in a particular thing, when one spouse is educated, the other is not. The other is both are highly educated, and thirdly they are not at all educated. Now in those conditions, do you think that the COVID, due to the COVID, there will be more challenges or less challenges because of the educational status of the married partners? Ms. Maben, please.
Yeah. It may or may not, because we will not be able to say that it is the education that plays important role, but it is the emotion that plays an important role. How we are emotionally, we are in control. How much emotional intelligence we have. Are we skilled? Are we equipped to handle our own emotions? Are the primary thing we have to concentrate. If we are able to take up the challenges, if we are able to take up the stress in a smoother way, rather exploring our anger, exploring our sadness, or exploring our impatience, rather than doing that, if we are able to handle ourselves, I think that is the best thing we can look into. And the thing is, what was your events or circumstances or the situations you have handled throughout your life till now? What is that you have, the skills you have attained, that will play an important role.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Beban. According to her, it's not the education, it's the emotion. And one has to understand this difference of opinion or the happy married life, all based on the emotions, not the education. So if you are if you can control your emotions, and if you just adjust yourself, your married life can be very, very happy. Now, in the last round, I would like to ask Professor Dalal, what is your advice to the public? Because we can't ask the suggestions to the government because it's an impact on married life. I'm sure you want to give the advice to the public at large. Professor Dalal, please.
Yes, thank you. And for this general question, this is the need of the hour actually. And we are asking everyone to have hope that this is a period which the world has seen before also 100 years ago, and that passed off. The world has seen world wars also, they also passed off. So this phase will also pass off. But we will have to follow the guidelines. We should not get stressed. And as we call it, there is no bravery in not following the guidelines. A person who is called brave is the one who follows the guidelines. So with the following of the guidelines, the chances of infection are very, very less. And with your happiness at work, as well as boosting of your immunity, the chances, even if you get infected, it will be very, very less. It will be either asymptomatic or mild. And in my department, around 10 odd people, they have got infected, but they are I would say asymptomatic almost, or very mild symptoms, and they are home quarantined in home isolation, and they have started rejoining also after a period of 17 days of home isolation. So this is the period when we should be following the governmental guidelines, and don't get panic and don't get stressed out. What are the positive things which one can do? As I told you earlier also, that have plenty of sunshine, although this is the rainy season, but otherwise before this and after this also, because vitamin D is supposed to be very, very important in this pandemic. and then have plenty of sleep, at least around 7 to 8 hours of sleep at a stretch at night time. Have a balanced diet, whatever you want to eat, you can cook together with your spouse or your family members, and you can enjoy that food. Then there are, as I told you, that do exercises or routines, and it is already said that the family which eats together, stays together, and prays together actually lives together. So you will have to follow these family norms, and there are certain positive things, that is, have confidence in you. That is very, very important. And similarly, with your increase in confidence, you can transpire that into your spouse, children, and other family members also. And this is the time for thanksgiving and for giving gratitudes to the people, to the frontline workers, those who are working day in and day out. And you can get connected with your people. That is also very, very important, to your friends and family members. With the advancement of technology, you can do that. Then the next thing is about mindfulness. That is, you will have to think for yourself that are you thinking too much about COVID nowadays? If yes, then try to give or pay your attention to other things other than COVID. And you will have to involve yourself in other activities, as has been discussed, than COVID. The other thing is that you will have to find out a way, or think yourself that what for you are in this world, what for you have come. Especially when we talk about healthcare workers, we always say that you are here, God has given you the opportunity to serve others in this pandemic, because most of the people are not given this opportunity. So this is the time when you should realize your own potentials, and you can help others. So you can get a happiness by helping others. I always give an example of the film actor Mr. Sonu Sood, who has done an exemplary work in sending probably thousands of migrants from Bombay initially, and then from all the other cities to their places, to their native places. And what he has said, I have seen one program of his, and what he has said, that the happiness which he got in sending them to their house, when they to their homes, when he received calls that they have reached safely to their homes, the happiness was much more than even getting this thing, a blockbuster movie, when he gets the news that it is a blockbuster movie. So you can feel inner happiness, and enjoy the situation by helping others. So these are the certain positive things which I would definitely ask you to have a take home message. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dalal, for giving the suggestions. But main suggestion is, please follow the governmental guidelines and give the full honor to the workers, the front workers who are doing their duty, whether they are health workers or any who are doing their duty very 24/7 in this COVID era. And he has also mentioned that happiness is required, and be happy for that. Like he has given an example of actor Sonu Sood. So anything which you are doing during this pandemic time, where you can generate the happiness in yourself, which will be definitely beneficial for you to be happy married in the happy married life. Now I would like to ask, I think Dr. Rajiv Anand is joining, but I can go to my next guest, Ms. Rashi Lashkari. Can you just give any suggestions to the or the advice to the public?
My few suggestions would be, one is do not panic. And if you feel that the news and the updates around the COVID situation, or why COVID situation, there's a lot of news going around nowadays that can be emotionally draining and very overwhelming for a person to deal with. If you are feeling like that, either individually or even as a couple or as a family, if you find yourself checking regular updates or what is happening on a particular case or a particular piece of news, then please stay away from it. Draw your boundaries as to how much you want to expose yourself to external news that may emotionally drain or tense you out, because that is going to have a consequence on your overall emotional energy, and as a result of that, what you are able to offer in your relationship or in your marriage. So that is one. Second, of course, interpersonally, take care of yourself, whether it is your diet, whether it is some small exercise, or just remaining physically active every day, taking time out for yourself, because only when you feel nourished and taken care of with your diet and your sleep and your own personal social interactions, whatever is possible digitally, is when you will be happier as an individual, and you will be able to contribute to your marriage or your relationship more happily. So these are the few things. Interpersonally with your spouse, draw certain boundaries in terms of taking space for yourself. Assess your priorities very well, and make sure that you're not sweating the small stuff, and you're not getting tensed over things that at this moment may not matter as much. And I believe that if we are able to keep up to a few of these things, as far as self-care and interpersonal relationship care is concerned, we should be okay to come out of this phase very soon, successfully and stronger.
Thank you, Ms. Lashkari, for giving detailed suggestions. I'm sure that our viewers will be very, very benefited by the suggestions which are coming from our esteemed panelists. Now, I would like to go to Dr. Rajiv Anand, but his audio is not yet connected properly. So I am going to Dr. Sheth. Dr. Sheth, your suggestions to the public at large. Please unmute yourself.
Well, my suggestion is be safe, stay safe, and this is a time to grow, and don't over think about things, and because overthinking really doesn't help. And love, after all, is an action verb, so it's always a moving target. So please don't overstep that. Do not risk it, because you're not just risking yourself, you're risking everybody else around you. And the most important thing is, this is a tough time we're going through, but we still deserve to be happy, still deserve to feel good. So let's work on that personal growth. If there's personal growth and if there's personal happiness, only then can you help people and relationships around you grow. So this is the time that you can make the most of. It's a phase. It has come to pass by. So let's not get too overwhelmed with it. Yes, there is a lot of news going on. Yes, there are a lot of updates, some true, some not. So just don't focus on that. Focus on yourself. Focus on becoming better and making things and people and your relationships better. So I wish nothing but all good things to everybody.
I wish nothing but all good things to everybody, says Dr. Sheth. And I'm sure that her advices or the suggestions which she has given, the public at large will definitely follow. Now, Dr. Rajiv Anand is there. Dr. Anand, can you hear me? Please unmute yourself. Please unmute.
Okay.
Yes, Dr. Anand, we lost you, but now you are there. Can you just give your suggestions to the public at large?
I can hear you. First of all, this is a wonderful interaction, wonderful group message from all of us, 6 of us, including you, and it's going to help immensely. Last few lines for me, that let everyone try to bring the best out of one's own self, and as well as out of the other near and dear ones. And this requires slow, subtle skill to be learned. This will not happen. Even to bring the electricity, we have to switch on, and we have to know which switch to switch on. or for the AC or for the fan or for the TV or for the anything. So to bring the best out of our near and dear ones, we need to learn the skills so that we should not put them off, we should put them on. And this skill, there's nothing wrong, nothing to feel embarrassed, nothing to feel ashamed of learning. As long as we are learning, we are growing. As long as we are learning, we are growing. People avoid going out to seek learning. So they prefer suffering whole life and their married life and their partner's life rather than learning and growing. So my simple request is please keep the option of learning and growing on, to give a gift of a wonderful married life to your wife, to give a gift of a very happy parents to your children, and to you also. Great. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Dr. Anand, for suggesting that gift your happy life to your spouse or parents or the children. That is the key of the success of the married life. Thank you. I'm sure that the suggestions which you have given definitely will be taken, well taken by the public at large. Now, I will go to Ms. Tanuja Maben. What are your suggestions to the public?
Yeah, my suggestion would be shift your focus. If you're focusing on the negativity, shift to the positivity. Whatever which is bothering you, shift your focus from that. Nurture your good things and grow through it. Grow personally, grow professionally, grow relationship wise. It could be any relationship. Go through it and become a strong person.
Thank you, Ms. Beban, and definitely your suggestion public will definitely take in the spirit. And so today you have seen the experts of the field, what they have mentioned about the COVID-19 impact on married life by just adjusting few things, which according to them is very, very easy. And according to them, it's a very, very positive time. It's an opportunity when we can make our married life successful. And for that, they have given all the suggestions, they have given, they have discussed, they have given their expert opinions, and they all are of one view that this is a very good opportunity. We must utilize this opportunity to make our married life, our family life very, very happy. And they have given all diverse views as far as the different views on the different aspects like children, like the spouse, like the family, everyone they have covered. And I'm sure that today's program is very educative, enlightening, and interesting for all of you. And today's program, which has been watched live by V4 News, Global TV, Malnadu TV, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, as well as it was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is always to bring new things on the current topic. And tomorrow is a very, very important day for the entire country, and that is the Independence Day. And tomorrow we are going to have Gyan's Independence Day celebration on our program of the media conference with Lal Goel at 11 a.m. Please join tomorrow, because tomorrow we have a very good program. That is the guest, eminent guest is joining the Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS, One-Man Expert Commission, Government of India, along with the Gyan, all the entire Gyan members, which you will see, because till now you have only seen me being the chairman of Gyan. I am interacting with you, but tomorrow you will see all the faces who are working behind every day to see that the programs which you are getting is going to be very, very interesting and informative. And along with them, along with us, we are going to be having the students, the youth from different parts of India. One is Gyan Mahavidyalaya Aligarh, Alwas College Murbidri, Benhar Public School Pilibhit. We have Pushp Institute Sciences and Higher Studies Pilibhit. We have Jawaharlal Navodaya Vidyalaya, Kangpo Kapi Manipur. We have Sant Ram Krishna Kanya Mahavidyalaya Agra, and few of the students will be performing on the theme is that tomorrow's theme is I Love India, and few will be talking, debating, asking questions to the eminent panelists. So please tune in tomorrow at in the media conference with Lal Goel at 11 a.m. sharp. Thank you very much, all the viewers. Thank you, all my eminent guests, Professor Dr. P.K. Dalal, Dr. Rajiv Anand, Ms. Rashi Lashkari, Dr. Khushboo Sheth, as well as Ms. Tanuja Maben for joining and giving your expert advice to the public at large. And I'm sure that today's program is very, very enlightened and educative.